Welcome everybody, it's Unstoppable Stiletsy here, and I got a very special gift for you today. You know how I usually do a lot of casted games for you? Well, today I actually got an Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition Age of the World mod casted match for you now. These are quite rare, so you gotta enjoy them when you get them, right? It's gonna be Gommuistan versus CptLink, two very skilled opponents, so it will be an even fight here for the most part. The battlefield will be Manchuria, so there is a bit of water potential here, but mostly it's going to be an open flatland with the trade route off to the side over here. So let's give it a start right now and see what happens. Alright, so on this side we have Gommuistan with the Cambodian Khmers, a new Asian civilization that was added to Age of the World. They mostly focus on elephants from their elephant stable, but they do have some infantry units as well from their barracks. Note that they do not have artillery at any sort of castle building. In fact, they only have normal towers for their defenses. All their artillery is elephant-based and from the elephant stable, so a little bit less complexity in terms of how they train their stuff there. As for the other side, we got CptLink with the Circle of Ossus. The Circle of Ossus, now this one's a bit more complex. I think they technically belong to a culture, or at least an organization, Kados, made with the mod called the Campaign Civs. So, yeah, there's sort of civs that are locked behind as Campaign Civs DLC, which is a separate add-on for the mod that you can add or remove at any time. But either way, as a civ itself, it operates mostly like a American civ, so similar to the United States and Mexicans. In it, depending on which age up you get, you will get certain cards inserted into your deck, right? So similar to USA and Mexico, your initial deck size is going to be muy pequeño, and as time goes on, you will get to add cards into it. Now, the difference is, with the United States and Mexico, of course, you were adding cards in based on states or provinces within your nation, right? As for the Circle, you're adding in cards based on the Europeans, or rather European enclaves that are added into the Circle's cult, right? So if you get a British enclave into your cult, you're going to get access to siege archery and Greenwich time. If you go with the Germans, you're going to get Teutonic defenses, or basically that team card for the town centers and mercenary camps, and so forth and so forth. Unlike USA and Mexico, thankfully, you have the option to pick any enclave you haven't already until, of course, you pass the Imperial Age, right? And then you can't pick anything, sadly, right? As time goes on, the bonuses will get really good. The Portuguese enclave, for instance, if you wait all the way to Imperial, eventually will have it so you can get a third factory. Total cancer we haven't seen since United States in the earliest versions of Wars of Liberty, right? Yeah, 3 factories. 3 places to get heavy artillery. 3 places to trickle resources. That should have you screaming in fear. Oh yeah, that's what makes the Circle so powerful. But not just that. They have a really good setup with their military as well. They got about 4 different ways to produce military. They got the Ossusary to train their infantry and cavalry. They got the Bestiary to train their white animals, so white wolves, white buffaloes, I believe white jaguars, all sorts of beasts. They have an artillery foundry to make European cannons, flamethrowers, as well as even fixed gun wagons. So, you know how the fixed gun works for the multi-civ, right? Well, for the Circle, they can literally pack and unpack their fixed guns anywhere they want. Basically trebuchets, but godlike. Yeah, very scary indeed. And then the last interesting one they have is basically this enclave building they can do, where, depending on which enclave you have already aged up with, you can train units from that nation. So, for instance, if you go with the Spanish, in the case of CptLink here in this one, you'll gain access to Roderos, Spanish Lancers, and the like. If you go with the British, you'll get Longbowmen, Rangers, and Rockets. If you go with Germany, you'll get Uhlans, I believe Doppels, and war wagons. It's quite a powerful thing because in the end, you're basically adding 12 or so random units into your roster, basically, depending on which enclaves you go with. Now, this is another cool sort of card that was introduced with the circle. So basically, if you look at the deck real quick, there's these two sorts of cards here, African Enclave Allies and Asian Enclave Allies. So basically what these cards do is they'll give you 11 random native warriors from that region of the world. So if you send the African one, for instance, you'll get 11 different random African native warriors that you have in the vanilla game. Likewise with the Asians. What he does here is he takes his Yoruba ESO riders, because they're going to lose their HP over time anyways, and just throws them into the front lines to do some raiding and scouting. Keeping the ones that don't lose their HP off to the side here, so he can get some reinforcements to back them up. What I'm presuming he's going to do is get the Asian Enclave Allies next, since that's his next best thing to do probably, and then probably add in the Headhunters. This is probably going to be your next strongest shipment, just because they're literally a non-mercenary version of the Armored Pistoliers. Godlike hand armor, one area of effect in their range attack. You really can't go wrong with it, really. It's a really strong unit, all things considered. So what he does do is actually go with the Bone Guard Musketeers here. Statistically, they're pretty similar to the Janissaries, but a bit cheaper, so pretty scary to deal with. And does add in those Asian Enclave Allies too. So it's going to be a pretty big mass of stuff here. And I think he hit a bit of the jackpot. He got 2 War Elephants, a Rattan Shield, a bunch of Tatar Archers, 2 Quizzlebash, and a Chakram Thrower. So Orange Jesus was on his side today. Let's see if he can get a proper attack going and maybe even win the match here. Looks like he's going in for the town center now. But what will Khmers do to defend? So the Khmers, right off the bat, have the Angkor Wat here, which is one of their wonders. The Angkor Wat, in addition to being one of the best natural wonders of the world, is basically like this sort of defensive structure that has a range attack. But if you garrison vills inside of it, it does even more damage with that defensive range attack. Also here has a couple of swordsmen, it looks like, defending. And some Buddhist archers. Yep. Now is adding in 7 peacock warriors, it looks like. Also calling in the sentries and the regulars. Everything you can throw at them, basically. So these warriors here are basically similar to halberdiers, pretty much. They're sort of like, what are they exactly? It looks like they're wielding some sort of axe, so like axe warriors, so yeah. Yeah, but mostly statistically similar to halbs, whereas the Bokatar swordsmen are statistically similar to Rodelros, so they have that fast movement speed and stats in melee and HP similar to the Rodelro. Yeah. It's pretty rare to see a Khmer actually go with infantry. That's how you can tell Gommuistan is sort of put on the defensive here. He's actually relying on different Khmer infantry units we would rarely ever see if a Khmer player was in a comfort zone, you know. Because the thing is, the real strength of the Khmers is in their elephant units. They get the War Elephant as a trainable unit, they get Elephant Archers, Elephant Flamethrowers, Elephant Ballistas, and Powder Keg Elephants. So, every kind of elephant you would ever want or need. Yeah. It looks like what he does do is he does ally with the British at his consulate, so he can get some extra HP on his soldiers, which is pretty smart. It will make these Bokatar swordsmen a little bit tankier going up against the Bone Guard musketeers if needed. But oh, look at that. Looks like CptLink has added in some Ossus Lancers here. This is one of the cavalries of the Circle of Ossusive. Statistically, they're basically, I don't know what to compare them to stats-wise. I think they're somewhat similar to the old Nien Riders from Wars of Liberty, where they basically took out the old Step Rider multipliers against only skirmishers and archers for the Chinese cav and made it purely anti-infantry. Yeah, somewhat similar to that, only it's a bit tankier with 2 pop here. So It's going to be mostly good against anything Gommuistan makes out of his barracks. Thus why he might want to get an elephant stable sooner rather than later and get some elephant archers or something. But we'll see. Villages are being pressured. One does actually succumb to the wounds. However, the swordsmen are here to help protect. However, Bone Guard musketeers, that'll be a serious problem. I mean, look, they do a range attack, so all that pierce damage is enough to actually keep the swordsmen from fully coming onto these lancers. Not to mention, of course, the lancers are doing multipliers against them too, so I mean, yeah, it's quite risky. Now, he does get the elephant archers, the thing I wanted him to get, so I think he should be in good shape on that note. Yeah, these elephant archers are pretty good, actually. You know, they have stats similar to a cav archer, except they're super tanky, like 509 hit points, and they also have pierce armor instead of hack armor, so, you know, even though they don't necessarily pack a lot of punch and damage, they do pack a lot of punch in terms of tankiness and surviving a lot of abuse. Unfortunately, way too much abuse for them to handle, and thus all of them succumb to their injuries. They did do a pretty good number, though, against CptLink, because he is going to have to retreat now. He's only got, like, one native left. He's got one lancer and a couple of bone guards there that he's going to have to pull back to his... Well, he's not going to bring it back fully to his original base, but he is going to put it on his forward base here, where he did put the Ossusary, and has his outpost as well. Now, one thing to watch out for in this match, CptLink has almost the whole trade route right now, so that's going to be very devastating. Very devastating. So you might want to get some soldiers together and try to combat that. He's getting some Buddhist archers, and he is going to get some of these halberdiers too, with their axe weapons. So this is going to be really good if he can do some sort of counterattack, but we'll see. However, the circle is going up to age 3 with the Portuguese Enclave. Now, personally, I would probably wait a little bit till, like, Imperial Age to get that, just so I could get that third factory. But he's probably doing it to pursue some of their cards, as well as their units. See, if you go with the Portuguese Enclave, you get access to cazadores, as well as organ guns, which can be very powerful for you, you know? Literal organ guns and all their anti-infantry goodness. Back in the day, Kados had set up actually where you could get the organ guns in Age 2, and that was like such a nasty build. It's actually on my channel if you ever want to check it out. It's like brutal. Like you would send in a number of coin crates to like get fast organ gun batch in Age 2, and then send the Enclave cards in. It was crazy. It was created by Goblin Master, but thankfully Kados was able to discover that exploit and did code out there, so sadly for you, you're not going to be able to do it. Only I'll remember those days. Yeah, too bad. Should have played the mod sooner. Yeah, but whatever. So basically the Portuguese Enclave, as far as their cards is concerned, will give you the one that grants you falconets, as well as Feitorias to add the resource trickles onto your town centers. So that's pretty cool. As for the Spanish one, you get House of Trastamara to help you with your age up, costs, and timing. And then you also get a Liberation March as an additional means to improve your training rates on soldiers, basically. Yeah. So quite a lot of card stack over time when you're playing as the Circle, as you can see. So he does get 2 Falcons first. I'm wondering if he's going to get Estrama's field guns at some point. Is that why he went with the Portuguese? Now, well, from the looks of it, he might have just did Portuguese to get a covered wagon, as I can see here. Now, this is cool. Look at, he's got white buffaloes and a cool sort of striped Cuban covering on his wagon. That's pretty neat, actually. Yeah. Going in for a full infantry attack with axemen, some redcoats, as well as the Buddhist archers, it looks like. Also, is starting to make some war elephants, too. So, really committing to a counter-offensive here. Looks like the axe warriors, Buddhist archers are able to push him out of here. And I believe with the siege on these axemen, they should be able to siege down this Ossusary. Yeah, and stop the production of his soldiers there. Because he still seems to be going for the Bone Guard Musketeers. One thing I will say, though, that he probably should have considered, CptLink, is maybe going with the British. So, if he runs out of coin, he can still send batches of longbowmen from his enclave to help him out here. Because, unfortunately, with the Spaniards and the Portuguese, you don't have any sort of food wood units to help you with that at all. So, you're a bit behind there. Yeah. Also, the Circle does not get a sort of archer unit from its Ossusary, only a pikeman of their own, so sadly that's one role you're going to kind of be missing there if you run into a pickle. Yeah, just stuff to think about in the future, basically. But he seems to be doing okay right now. In fact, he gets the veteran upgrade on these Bone Guard Musketeers, and it will drive the Khmers back, at least for now. Does have some Angkor guards here. These are the Khmers skirmisher unit, so he's probably going to want a few of those. What is the long-term Khmer roster going to be in terms of his army? So he's going to do mostly Angkor guards, it looks like, since these seem to be fully fledged skirmishers with 20 range. Yeah, he's probably going to try to do that and keep his distance from these Bone Guard muskets. Does have to watch out, though, for these Ossus Lancers, and of course, if CptLink decides to call in a sort of organ guns, cazadors, Spanish Lancers, or any of those other goody Enclave units. Could be a real problem for him. Yeah, oh yeah, big time. Now, what is CptLink's food and wood situation? If he gets enough food and wood, I would say get a bestiary over here somewhere and start adding in some animals. You know, the animals don't cost any pop space. Yeah, you could spam out like 1 million white wolves, white jaguars, white buffaloes, and really cause the Khmers some serious issues there by soaking up all that damage with the animals and letting the tough soldiers, you know, do the damage without taking any injuries themselves. That's what I like to do. I like to add bestiaries in to essentially add a bit of a buffer into my armies. And then even the white buffalo does, I believe, do some splash damage, so it's a really strong unit. Looks like Axeman here will... Oh, wow, look at that, look at that. These units are starting to devastate the Lancers. Yeah, as long as you have enough of these Payak warriors, I guess you can indeed deal with the Lancers regardless of their anti-infantry multipliers, yeah. Completely overruns them there. Bone Guard Musketeers trying to defend. Does have 2 Ossusaries now, so he's double queuing out of his stuff. Continuing with the Angkor Guards and the Buddhist Archers, so mostly going skirmish. Yep, CptLink's going to try to go Lancer now and try to deal with all these archers that are swarming through his base. How many Axemen does he still have here? I'd like to check that. He has about 2 of them, so he's almost done with the Axemen. So if he can get like a huge batch of these Lancers out, maybe he can indeed do something with that. Also has some Minutemen as well, so there should be a pretty decent defense here. Alright, yep, gets the Lancers right on top of the skirmishers. This is going to be a big cleanup here, I think, yeah. How much so, it really depends. Also has a veteran upgrade on these Lancers, so they are a bit statistically more advanced for Gommuistan's troops. Taking out so many units here. So many. I'm assuming he's getting, he's getting some more of those Axe Warriors to deal with the Cav threat. Losing some, no, he completely ignores the Vils there and goes after the skirmish. Probably knows what's coming. He wants to get rid of as much infantry as possible before the Axemen come out again. Now starts to take out some villagers there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, a good number of them, yeah. Quite devastating. These Lancers have a pretty okay range on them, yeah. Just noticed that. Yeah, now has enough stuff to defend for now at least. But now gets the Ossus Headhunters. These are the Circle of Ossus armored pistolier soldiers that you can train from the Ossusary. And I believe they shadow tech automatically to veteran for some reason in Age 3. So, yeah, very powerful unit to add in. 42 damage with one splash. Quite good, you know. You definitely never want to deal with these guys in melee. Like these Axe Warriors here, the Peacock Warriors. They are going to want to avoid these headhunters at all costs. And it might indeed be these headhunters that wins CptLink the game. If Gommuistan is not careful. We'll see, though. We'll see. Yeah, we seem to see the Axe Warriors and skirmish units taking a move up towards the trade route, probably to devastate some of CptLink's eco. But that will tip him off to come after you. Yeah, he will come after you now. And more Lancers are on the way. Working off of how many TCs? 1 TC, 2 TC, so... Got a really good economy working there. I just think you're out of steam at this point because you're using infantry that's an age behind against these powerful Lancers and now the headhunters. This very devastating. You have like once that splash attack gets in there, you're done. Like wherever you make an infantry, you're toast. Especially all this axe stuff that has hack armor only. It's not going to do good against all this pierce damage they're having on them. I mean, at least he's got the Angkor Wat there to sort of garrison his villies in an emergency, but that only goes so far. At some point, you need a little bit more. Yeah. I think CptLink did a really good job at pressuring his opponent to the point that he couldn't get up to Age 3 with the export base wonder, I think it's the Loi or the Ossusary temple or whatever. Because if he would have gotten that wonder, it gives him all the export with all the nearby vills. That would have been very scary indeed, because then he would essentially be able to spam infinite stuff out of his consulate, or near infinite stuff, and it would have been quite daunting to deal with. I will say that. Yeah, so good for the circle and keeping the pressure on. It's going to be the way to win the match very easily. Oh, look at this. Look at this. He did get some units from his Enclave, the Guard Lancers. Yeah, this is just one of the many units you can get from your Enclave building. I believe it's right here. Yep, the Ossus Enclave. This is where you train all your European stuff, like the Lancers. And do note that they start out with Guard stats. Yeah, that's basically the way Kato's programmed them. They start out with Guard stats, but they don't get any upgrades after that. So, yeah. Very strong early, but weak as you get into the Imperial Age. So there's a bit of balance there, pretty much. And you can, I believe you can indeed get the Lancers in Age 2. Is that... I can't remember. I think there's some units that are normally in Age 3 and beyond that you can get in Age 2, like the Cazadors, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Very interesting how that's set up. Also, picking up the card Quebracos. Oh, is that a technology? Oh yeah, that's a technology from the market. What other cards could the circle send at this point? So you got some crates still, you got the vills, can upgrade your infantry, and all this, yep, get the Fittorias for your eco, and as well as get the Estremas field guns. Actually trains 4 Falcons out of the foundry, it looks like. And I think at that point, it's looking very hard to be the Khmers right now. Khmers, you might want to get to Age 3 and access these very powerful shipments very soon, you know. War Elephants, Flamethrower Elephants, Ballista Elephants, you need these things really badly here. Otherwise, you're going to have some serious issues. But I don't think time is on your side right now because the Falcons are already blasting down your barracks. Sad to say. Sad to say. Yep, looks like a GG well played. Yeah. It was a good match. I mean, this is a pretty good fight, honestly, you know. But the thing is, I've seen CptLink compete before in the House of the Trading Post tournament, so I know his skills. He's really good at AoE 3. And when he picks up these hits like the circle and stuff, you really see that drip off of him, all that pure energy and stuff. It's really great. Yeah, now he gets up to Age 2 with the Victory Gate Wonder. This is basically a version of the Golden Pavilion that Japan gets. Now, what it does is it either improves all your military units' attack or their hit points. So, yeah. Really anything at this point is going to help them. Well, the issue with this wonder is it does give you only the skirmishers with the age-up bonus, so nothing like elephants that you really need for these cannons. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate. I think this TC is going to go down too, so he might not even get those skirms. Yeah, no, he might not get them now. Yep. Yeah, it doesn't even get the skirms. At least now he can try to ship some stuff in if he gets a tower in the back here. Like, yeah, maybe, yep. He does have a... Where's again the... Maybe from here? Yeah, I don't see any TC or anything. Yeah, he's probably getting it out of the Angkor Wat. Yeah. Hopefully he can keep this thing going, though, so he can get it. Because he really needs those war elephants badly and probably wants to get them up to veteran, too. For safety. He is getting them up to veteran right now to the disciplined upgrade. Also get some more red coats out of your consulate. Yep, start stomping those falcons. Yep, looks like the falcons are going down. Very nice. GG, well played, it looks like. Yeah, I mean, when the rice paddies are no longer safe, good is done. Yep, let's look at the post game and see what happened. Resources wise, it looks like CptLink was quite ahead since he seemed to be able to maintain some really good map control. You know, he's the one that built the first forward base there with the Ossusary and the tower. He was the one that took over the trade route. He did a great job at capitalizing on this map. Really well. Heck, he even did a bit of water economy too on the coast of Manchuria, so he really knew what he was doing here with the circle civ. Very good match. Now, oh yeah, let me check the kills as well. I like looking at that. Yeah, I mean, he did get more kills just because he was making a lot of stronger stuff. I would say these Axe Warriors or Peacock Warriors of the Khmers was probably like the most strongest thing that Gommuistan was making on his side, but definitely from a Circle versus Khmer perspective, if you're not making elephants as Khmers, certainly the Circle is probably going to do a lot better than you. Just saying. Yeah. Well, anyways, this was a great match. Enjoyed bringing it to you, and I got one more to bring to you too, so that'll be part of a separate upload. So enjoyed that one after this one. See you there. Sign off now.